I want to share some ideas about form validation because getting this wrong leads to really bad user experience in web applications. I'm going to show you why with this poorly designed create an account page. I chose username and password, but it doesn't look like anything happened. Oh well, let me try again. I'll choose a username, I'll choose a password. Uh-oh, why is this not working? Feedback is critical, and this form feels bad because it didn't tell me what it needed, nor did it tell me what I did wrong. So let's sketch out why. Our app has a back end and a front end. On the front end, we can choose a username and a password, then click Create to post the form content to the back end. The back end needs to meet certain organizational constraints, if you don't mind that term. Here we require some level of password complexity where a password must have lowercase letters, which it does, but the user didn't use capital letters, they didn't use numbers, and the string has fewer than 7 characters. The constraints aren't an issue on their own. The real issue is that when the password requirement failed, the app sent the user back to a state where they saw a blank form. In other words, a bad user experience happened. Now that we know the problem, let's find it in the code. The problem comes down to these 2 lines where we validate the username and password, and in the event that either fail, we redirect the user back to the get route. So maybe we can fix this by adding feedback to the page where the error happens. We know the page is rendered using account setup form.html, and we can slot in a Jinja conditional between the form title and the first input field that basically says try again. Since this has a Boolean variable called feedback, we will replace the return redirect with a render template and a feedback equals true. Now, if we choose a bad password, it actually looks like something happens, but there's still a big limitation here. We have to fill out the entire form before we get any feedback, and notice that the data we previously entered is gone. This brings us to idea 2. What if we make validation part of the form itself? We're already using regular expressions on the back end to validate the data coming in, so let's encode that in the form as well. Starting from the input block, add a title field and a pattern field. The title describes what the input field expects, and the pattern is a regular expression. Now, if I choose a bad password, I get inline feedback where something went wrong, and it didn't delete my progress. So this tells me, please match the requested format, must have lower, upper, and number, and be at least 8 characters long. So I finally know how to correct my actions and choose a password, and finally, I'm logged in. So let's review. We started validation on the back end, but moved more and more of it to the front end to give faster, better feedback to our users. Maybe you're left wondering, do we still need to do this back end validation thing? I don't want to answer that question just yet, so what do you think? Could something go wrong if our back end just trusted everything coming in? Anyway, I want you to use these skills to make your forms a little better and your users a little less miserable. Take care, y'all.